episode 2.
We're back.
We're back.
Very excited.
We made it. I mean, I think episode 2 is a little more special because we now have an official guest joining us.
Very excited about this guest.
Yes. Yeah. It was a pretty great chat, I think, that we had. So Jasmine Young, I should say. I know her as Jasmine Cracknell prior to her getting married. So Jasmine Young with Zonda Urban joined us. And I think, it was a pretty informative conversation about just kind of what's happening all over Canada, what different developers, different groups are doing. Thoughts on the headlines these days?
I think I was actually pretty quiet because I was so in awe of her. I was learning so much. It was really cool. It was a really, really great experience.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great episode.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be great.
Me too. Yeah. Well, let's kick it off.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Heather Lloyd, and we're here at the Real TO podcast. I'm here with my co-hosts, Kendall Taggart, Kaylee Kelly. How are you ladies doing?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Great. Thank you.
Good. And we're here with Jasmine Young. How are you doing?
Good. Thank you.
Good. Our first official guest on the show. We're pretty excited to have you here. I'm going to read your bio because I don't want to get anything wrong, which is also kind of a weird thing to have somebody recite your bio. But for our listeners, we need them to know all about you. So you have over 20 years experience in this pre-construction industry. And your specialty is in kind of economics, research, data analysis. Spent most of your career with the very well-renowned Barry Lyon Consultants. And with that, you did a lot of work with them for different developers, institutional, groups, government groups, so all 3 levels of government, different reporting for different developers, or different developments, I should say. Your most recent, ish move, about 4 years?
Yeah, 4 years now.
Yeah, is with Zonda Urban as their Vice President of Advisory in Canada. So here they seem to have you traveling all over Canada. You are one of the primary speakers at their very well-attended frame events that they have, and you're doing a lot of the same, it looks like, a lot of research analysis, reporting, helping developers and different groups figure out where best place to do development is, across Canada. So we are very excited to have you here. Oh, the other thing I meant to mention is that you are a recent member of the Ontario Association of Land Economics. So that's pretty cool news, and we are very excited to have you here and chat with you.
Oh, thank you. I'm really excited to be here. Thank you. It is weird to hear your bio.
It's weird to hear your bio, right?
Well, but it's a great bio. So.
Yes, you should be proud of it for sure. How has the start of your September been with the back to school? I know you've got a little guy at home.
Yeah. It's always, chaotic because you just, like the way the summer is, and you get kind of into that groove, and then it just kind of changes on you, and you're back to making lunches again.
Oh my God, lunches
and dinners, and
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I feel like it's back to routine, like after school curricular things and stuff like that. It's a lot. So I know you guys are dealing with it as well. Actually, Kendall just had big news. She just got after school and before school care.
Yes,
so.
I have someone coming to my house at 7:15 and dropping the kids off at 9, and then picking them up from school, and then staying till 5:30.
That's pretty
I'm
exciting.
so excited because I've heavily relied on my parents and my neighbors and my friends, and so this is a big thing for me. So I'm very excited.
That is exciting.
That's amazing.
Yes. I feel like ours is just we just started having our son walk home by himself and go to school by himself and walk home by himself, and then he's at home for a little bit of time certain days after school, which is just mildly terrifying and sad as well because he's too old now. Yeah.
I know.
They get big quick.
Yeah, it's inevitable. What can you do? So maybe where we can start is maybe you can tell us a little bit more about Zonda Urban for anybody who doesn't know what that is or who they are as a group.
Sure, yeah. So Zonda Urban is the largest data provider in the U.S. for housing market. And so they do lots and single-family homes and that sort of thing. And in, 4 years ago, they acquired a company called Urban Analytics, who was doing data and collecting and analysis in Vancouver and Calgary and Edmonton.
Right.
And they also acquired BuzzBuzz Home, now livable. And with that, they started an expansion across Canada, which is us, Zonda Urban. So now we do data collecting in 15 markets across Canada, so it's pretty exciting. mainly for me because I'm a very big data nerd. That'll probably come up and come out. But yeah, so now it's tracking all the markets, and the Canada version is all multifamily. So condominium apartments, rental townhomes, and townhomes.
Wow.
So it's pretty exciting. Yeah.
And you say 15 markets. So are you traveling to all 15 of those markets?
No, but kind of.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm doing some work in I'm doing definitely advisory work in most of the markets, but I've really only had to travel to Calgary and Vancouver mainly.
Okay.
But sometimes I do get to go out to the other markets as
Right.
well. Yeah.
And when you say advisory work, do you maybe want to like just elaborate on that?
Oh,
for
yeah,
us?
sure. So that's sort of what I did from Barry Lyon's office and even my very first job, which was at Rogers Video, locating video stores across Canada. So good thing I got out of that market. So challenging markets. Locating video stores.
Yeah.
And how that would go right now. But so advisory really, it's the full range of things that can help developers or governments or anybody really with real estate on what they should do with it. So it can be feasibility studies, it could be rental market studies for CMHC financing.
Okay.
It can be floor plan reviews, amenity reviews. Should these units have balconies? It's really the whole gamut.
That's pretty cool.
Mhm,
Okay.
mhm.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
All right. So you probably see a lot of different perspectives, a lot of opinions, I imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's like part of the Zonda Urban. What's great is we do have analysts in all the markets, so it's like kind of like my own or our own data
Right.
now, so I can really cross-reference and cross-check a lot of things. So,
Okay.
we could just, if I see something on the number side, I can call up one of the analysts and be like, is this really happening? Who was at the sales center this weekend? Who was at the, launch of this
Right.
and that? So it's kind of just to get that finer point on the data.
Yeah. Well, and you must if you're tracking all those markets and you're going to all those markets, you must see like each market must have its own personality and like different trends. So can you tell us a little bit about what you're seeing in terms of those trends?
Yeah, sure. I think like the best advice I ever got from a career, and you can probably appreciate it being from here, is like whatever you do is you take your Toronto hat off when you go to any other market.
That is
So
actually
true.
such good
Okay, that's
advice.
true.
Yeah.
But that's also even within Ontario. So I'm out
Yeah.
in Stratford or, wherever, Owen Sound or Meaford or wherever I'm doing work, it's like Toronto hat has to come off.
Right.
And then you just try and immerse yourself. I usually try and meet with as many other analysts when I go. So I usually find like who's the top resale analyst, who's like somebody at CMHC, because they're always open to talk to you because they have the analysts there as
Right.
well that do the market reports. I always meet with various people when I go to actually really learn and see what they're seeing in these markets. And then I, do the primary stuff as well. So
interesting.
yeah, but
Yeah.
they are very, very distinct.
What would you say is like the most, I guess, was the most surprising about, say, maybe like the top 3 markets, like Vancouver, Calgary, Toronto, Montreal?
Yeah,
Sure.
I think, I guess it's just how everybody's handling the current market now, because there's a noticeable slowdown
Yeah.
for everybody.
Right.
And so it's just different markets are responding differently. Toronto really hasn't had a slowdown like
Right.
this. Other markets like Calgary definitely did in
Yep.
2015,
Yeah,
2016,
yeah.
right? When they had the crashish
Yeah.
kind of with the oil and gas, right? So different markets that have gone through kind of downturns are not feeling as bad about the market now.
Right. As maybe we
right?
are
as,
in
as
Toronto.
as we are in Toronto. And then also it's opportunities. So let's take the big one. So you'd have Vancouver, they're doing the build out of the suburbs
Right.
where we kind of started going everywhere, right? Like our
Right.
Vaughns, our Mississaugas, that's what like the post-COVID was that boom for us, because it wasn't just look at downtown and Yonge and Eglinton and the common markets that have things going for it. It was like any market that had high rise boomed.
Right.
And all of them did.
Do you feel that the way in which, say, like you say, Vancouver's and the suburbs, do you feel like with us it was like high, tall towers everywhere, whereas like, is it more mid-rise structures?
Yeah.
Just a different type of like model altogether in some of those areas?
Yeah, I think like that would be the big trend too. And I've talked about it a little bit before at some of the frame events, especially, is that the one thing that we're missing here in the GTHA would be wood frame development,
Right.
right? And so Calgary, Vancouver, again, staying to the big ones, but even Montreal, like if you're seeing where a lot of the sales are happening now, in particular for condominium apartments, it's the 6-story.
Right.
And it's just, they're smaller buildings, they're more affordable, and so the price point's there. And they've really did a great job of integrating retail and everything like that, and again, back to having our own analysts, like, they'll be like, oh yeah, it was families with kids that are lining up to purchase at the launch, right? And because even the pre-sale, to your point, like our towers are so big that if I'm 27 and I'm buying a condo today that I'm going to move into in 7 years from now, like a lot happens between that timeline. So even the shorter construction timeline for those, people can wrap their head around it a little bit more.
What is the average time frame for that?
I would say it obviously depends, but like a lot of the standard projects, I would say would be like 6 stories, like 50 units, or they're 6 stories, 120. Like you're not really getting past 200 units all that often, unless it's like a big U kind of thing. And so you're looking at 12, 18 months kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
Well, and you also mentioned earlier there's a pretty substantial price difference between concrete and wood frame.
Yeah, definitely. But what is interesting though is that the price difference between wood frame and concrete in Calgary and Vancouver is the same price difference. It's $400 a foot. Roughly. So so it's like $1,300 for concrete in Vancouver, and it's like $950 for the wood frame in Vancouver, and then Calgary it's like $6 and then $3. Like so it's kind of it's interesting because it's still like the same, I guess, delta, but like that's where you see it. And then in Toronto, you have ours. We're at like 11 something and change, and then for wood like nothing because we don't have it.
Right.
Yeah.
But the next down from that is the townhomes, and they're like $650 a foot right now. That's why they're selling.
Yeah.
The difference is hundreds of dollars a foot difference.
Yeah. And price point and price.
And I would say that's the common. If anything is common between all the markets, it's price point. Rental, condo, townhouse, like single, like anything, it's all price right now. But like for most people, they're affordable. But then also on the flip side, luxury. Now the people that are
Definitely.
I think the thoughts of like the rent, the rates going down, and like people feel, I think, that this is where we're going to be at for the next little while. I think they're saying there's going to be a rate cut again for the next announcement, but I mean, I feel like they always say that at the beginning, and then as we get closer to when they're going to cut, everyone changes their mind and then says they're going to be steady, right?
Yeah.
So it's just a guessing game. But I think like I've definitely seen a lot more luxury product hit the market and sell now because I think people have, it's like the summer's done.
I feel like maybe people are getting comfortable with the uncomfortable a little bit. Like there's been a lot of the same news that really hasn't really gone anywhere kind of thing. So rates are, I mean, for a lot of people too, I think in the luxury market, we've said this before, where like the interest rates to them, they may have bought their house like 40 years ago or 50 years ago for that matter. So the interest rates to them are not as high as maybe some of the people who are like were buying just a few years ago kind of thing. So that's not the factor. It's like, what are the headlines and are they comfortable with this decision? Are they ready for this decision?
Yeah. And it's even product, right?
Yeah.
So like if nothing's available, they're not going to go. But now there are more listings either on the resale market or even some of the new stuff, right? Because maybe like we're seeing like penthouse releases and things like that in other markets, right? So they're putting it out there.
Yeah.
Whereas I think there was a little bit of a nothing's really happening, so I'm not going to throw my $2 million penthouses out there and take a huge cut on the price. Whereas now it's like, okay, we're going to put them out there.
Do you feel like the luxury market, like across Canada, has remained relatively stable in comparison to other?
Oh yeah, it always
Yeah.
is. Luxury and rental are usually the ones that are the most stable, even during recessions, just because they just are. You're always going to need people that rent.
Yeah.
And luxury is just a different category altogether.
Yeah,
So the luxury people are just
Doing their
money
own thing.
people who have money. Yeah, exactly.
If you had if you were talking to a really, really close friend of yours and they were looking to purchase or to buy like even wood, like where what would be the area or even like the city that you would recommend buying? Like, I know that I feel like everyone's talking about Newfoundland being like this hot spot and prices have gone up like relative to everywhere else. But like, do you have thoughts on that?
I do. I think it also depends. Like, it depends on like obviously what you're looking for, and is it an investment, is it not, and so on. But I think if it was like I want to buy to live, I feel like there's just certain markets that I go to, and I can feel that development's gonna come, and there's just something behind it. So. Yeah, it's really like it's either the small towns because that's where you're gonna find good pricing before like the big wave of people come in. So it's like get in before it happens, or it's like just buy in established places. Like we know that the market's gonna turn back around. We know that we had a flattening of pricing now, but like Toronto will still be a good bet. Vancouver will still be a good bet. Calgary is still a good bet because like these are the major centers like for employment. We're just kind of going through a like call it growing pains issue, right? With the whole country, we just grew too fast, and every sector got impacted by how much population happened. Because we just didn't expect as many people as we got.
Do you feel, from an economic standpoint, that we're at the bottom of this? That we are going to start to see improvement? I know everybody's looking for that crystal ball.
Yeah.
But just curious, like from your perspective, where you think we might be in this slowdown?
Yeah, I think it is hard to say because, like if we were to compare it to other markets at other times and everything like that, like is that like for Toronto specifically or the GTHA, like we didn't reset, right? We never had a reset. Like 0809 wasn't a reset year for us. Like it was throughout America. It was through like so we didn't reset. We didn't do anything. And then after COVID, it was just like all this money was in the market, and so we were just selling to all the money in the market, right? So I think once we get through the inventory, I think that's the biggest challenge.
I think it's like what I worry about is the investors. Like the investors have clearly disappeared for now. So it is end users, and that is who's buying, which I think is what's prompting up the luxury market and the townhouses and that sort of thing. So I think it's going to take a while, and we have to get this confidence back with the investors that real estate is a good investment. Again,
and I think it's difficult because a lot of younger, let's say, first-time home buyers, they were getting in the market because they were getting help from parents and so on, and so like, how willing are the parents going to lend on a real estate asset that they think, or because of all the news being so terrible, that there's no value in it, but you're still getting in the market. And like that's the big step, right? Getting into the market and then being able to use it as a stepping stone. So I think that will start happening again too. Like that generation up, like there's still a lot of wealth there.
Yeah. And right? I think we're talking about it at some point about the stock market. Like the stock market has crashed. Yeah. And people didn't stop, investing in the stock market. Yeah. They continue to do so. So I think to your point, like I think it will come back around. There does need to be some more confidence out there. The headlines need to start to change, which would be wonderful to see more positive headlines. And
yes,
just more,
agreed.
Yeah. But I do think that there is like, obviously we will start to see this tide kind of shift and people come back.
Well, yeah, like exactly, like stock market, like who buys an RRSP and then watches the stock market daily when you're cashing out? Like that's the problem. Like I think the problem is that we're talking about condos specifically as like investments, and then also homes, and then also as rental, like secondary rental. Like it has so many identities, and so and there's no real way to describe what each of those were, right? And so if you bought it as an investment, it should have been a long-term investment.
Absolutely.
Right? Like that's the way you have to look at it.
That I think is what got lost. Yeah. Right? Is that people were expecting, and I mean, you see it
all the time.
All the time.
Yeah. But I always remember what my father said, like when we were trying to figure out where we're going to buy our first home. And he always said, he's like, buy a home to live in it for a while. Like it's your home, and don't buy it for a quick fix, but it's like, don't think about it because it'll grow, but you have to wait. Like it was never, it's a recent thing, I believe, that people are expecting that market to just make money right away for you. And this is like a proven fact that it's can be disappointing at at times. So
Well, yeah, and I think that that's like a challenge was like compared to any of the other markets. Like if we look at Montreal, like it is so affordable, and everyone's like, how is it always still so affordable? And it's because it was supply, and it was like continuous supply, continuous rental, of all the forms of housing. So if you have everything available, then like all ships rise. But it's not like you have one thing just taking off, right?
Yeah.
Like whereas we had the condo being the affordable option, and it just kind of took off in terms of pricing here.
Right.
And I think that really, I mean, we've been looking at it for a long time, but it used to be $500 a foot for like 10 years, and then it was $600 for like another 5, and then it was $700, and then it was $1,000. Like it just went boom.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we skipped 8, we skipped 9.
Yeah.
Right. We don't need 8 or 9.
Like 8 or 9 didn't happen. Who needs 8 or 9? Let's just go right for 1,000, and then it kept on going up from there. And then
Nice
it
round
was
number.
like, okay. And it was, and if COVID, if all these other things didn't happen, like we were on a trajectory to hit like $2,000 a foot, like for sure downtown.
Yeah.
Like at the rate that it was going, at the rate that people were buying, like it was just out of hand a
I
little.
mean, do you feel like other major cities have hit that $2,000 a square foot range? Do you feel like if we had like kept building the way we were building, would we have hit it, or would we have had to change what we were design? Like, would we have had to, because it was getting smaller and smaller. Would we have had to start looking at like bigger units and more boutique style buildings and like limiting the volume?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I think it's what we have that's a challenge is that, I mean, and a lot of people don't think about it, is that Canada, we have so much land.
Yeah.
Right? So all these other markets, like a little bit Vancouver, and that's why kind of the pricing has maintained itself a little bit better there, is like they're constrained by mountain
Yeah.
and ocean,
Yeah.
right? Like Calgary, none. Edmonton, very much none.
Yeah.
And so these other markets that can just keep on going, like they have other things available. So it's like Hong Kong and all these other places, you're just on a peninsula. So
Right.
they don't have anything else. So all that, it's like a limited supply.
Yeah.
So then they're able to hit that price point.
Yeah.
That's an interesting way to look at it.
Yeah. Whereas like, as soon as other areas open up,
Yeah.
it'll keep on going.
So maybe just shifting gears a little bit, when people think about getting into real estate, they often think about, being an agent or maybe getting into like development or architecture. I don't know that like research and analysis and like report writing are like top of the list for everybody. I'm just really curious to know kind of what was your path? How did you end up where you ended up? And how did this all happen for you?
Yeah, so I took geography, now called spatial analysis. A fancy name now,
yeah,
not
fancy.
fancy when I went to school
Wow.
at TMU. And so it was actually a very specialized program. So it was GIS and data and statistics based. So it was like statistics based geography learning. So it was about locating things in places. And then I got a job locating video stores in places. and I was there, and it was in the real estate department for Rogers, and it was really exciting. And it was pretty scientific in terms of how to do that. So I kind of learned their data modeling and analysis, and it was kind of cool because you could just, you make a decision, and then all of a sudden it's getting constructed, and then you find out like it's done well, and then you see how it does and how it performs, and you're like
That is
super
really
excited.
cool, yeah.
And then I actually had got headhunted to Barry Lyon's office.
Right.
And so I was doing surveys there initially. So,
Oh.
and that's sort of where I think I've stayed. Like it really, like I had a tie to like the people living in these homes that were getting designed. So it was like phone surveys to like, and talking to people. And so I did one for Old Town, so like the St. Lawrence Market area. So I got to call like a whole bunch of people, and that is a fascinating neighborhood because it's co-ops and, like a seniors, there's like a seniors home for ex-theater people.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah, it's like the most diversified kind of area
Wow.
you can get. And I had to phone them till like all hours of the night. And I had like done, I think 250 surveys was my first thing, and it was like just super interesting, and like part of that stays with you, like because you
Yeah.
just are like, okay, they hate tennis courts. They love, you know,
Is that what you were
whatever.
calling them about?
Just
Like-
different things. Yeah.
Wow.
yeah
I was going to
yeah,
say,
yeah.
like, what was the survey? Like, was it to understand what that neighborhood needed,
Yeah.
or okay,
Yeah.
and would that be for like without obviously disclosing the client? Was it like, you know, infrastructure based? Was
Yeah,
it
it
city?
was
Okay.
infrastructure based,
Okay.
and that. But then also, I did that for other groups that were trying out like a different product form. So wanting to do luxury and wanting to go for seniors, but like just not knowing if that was the market.
Right.
So it sort of was like, hey, would you buy a, you know? And
Wow.
Yeah,
I
so
wonder
it's
if we'll
really
start to see some of that kind of come back in this market. Like,
well, that's what I was thinking because
Yeah.
like there is something about kind of going back to your roots in times like this and like reevaluating how we look at things or what we turn to. And like I used to do a ton of focus groups, and I
Yeah.
think that they're super fun. Like it's hard to get people. That's
Yeah.
always the hardest
Yeah.
part. And like also for like what you offer, like sometimes you know you don't want to be like free lunch if, and then all of a sudden people are just coming for lunch.
Yeah,
So you got to be careful, but you do have to offer something. But I think like they're so telling because you can really like, and if it's you know, programming amenities for people that have bought or what have you, like they get really excited about feeling like they had something to say about
Yeah.
Right.
certain things. So even design, or if like it depends on what stage or what you're doing it for. But we found that like usually, especially in a condo situation, like a lot of the focus group people would end up buying.
Really?
Yeah,
Interesting.
because they felt like they had, like they were there. You've got them for a few hours, right? It's
Yeah.
like usually 3 hours, I'd say, maybe, you know, give or take. But that's because you give them food and you get breaks and you know
Right.
things like that. I mean, we've done it before where you even do like breakout sessions. So like each little table has a different something, right? So it's like amenities, finishes, whatever.
Right.
So people could be like, and then you get both like qualitative because you have everyone talking, but then the quantitative is like 18 people hate dark cherry wood. Like you get like the tick marks
Yeah.
of it, and then you're like, okay, like, and you know, do you do the 2-tiered color scheme? Do you do, you know, no 3 bedrooms? Like
But let's be honest, when you were doing those, nobody hated
No.
dark cherry wood.
everyone loves cherry. Everybody.
Now they'd hate it, but
Yes.
then they loved it. Yeah.
Like gray floors.
Yes.
Gray wood floors for millennials. Everywhere.
Everywhere. So would they just give you a phone book?
Kinda, yeah. Sometimes,
Wow.
yeah, it was tough, but it was
Yeah.
interesting. I mean, sometimes you had a list, but you know, for cities and for you know town, like for municipalities, yeah, it was phone books.
Just start going through, highlighting who you've called.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
do think that things are going to go back that way. Like you even said, I think in the last episode, Kaylee, that you have to do more outreach than we've ever had to do, right?
Yep.
And so I do think that this is just another form of outreach that is going to come around. And
It's like
yeah, like
the
it's a
back to
great
basics.
opportunity.
Yeah.
People should take.
It
We
is.
should take on this.
Yeah.
Right now.
Absolutely.
I think that will be what will be interesting to see come out of this, like this time in the market. Like we talk about it a lot, just like the playbook is gone because there was this like a very prescribed way
Yeah.
to bring product to market, depending on what the product was. And I'm curious almost to see like what the next wave of that maybe formula is, or is there a formula? Or is it like it right now? It just kind of seems like you just do whatever you can do. There is no playbook necessarily. The playbook is like throw all the mud at the wall and see what
Yeah.
sticks, kind of thing.
Well, I mean, I think, again, back to the basics. I mean, what we used to do as an industry, and it's still done in a lot of places too, is like maybe if wood isn't our answer because it's like land costs and everything like
Right.
that, it's that split floor plate, which doesn't happen as much anymore. Like my favorite, let's not talk about favorite building. One of my favorite buildings is number 10 Bel Air, the one right beside the Rock in Yorkville, like that one there.
Yeah.
But I used to look at it as an investment when I was younger because it has a split floor plate. So it's got like 11 units of floor on the bottom floors, and then it goes up to the really expensive ones where there's only like 5 or 8
Right.
units.
Yeah.
So like you still had like a 586 square foot unit in that building. So you could get in at a good price point, but be in like an amazing location with,
Yeah.
you know, so it's not, and I get that for construction costs and everything, it's a lot easier to have stacks go all the way up. But if you do that where it's like 10 or 12 units of floor and then it goes down to 8 or 5, like you're offering different product, right? Then you're diversifying, you're offering different price points, you're hitting end users and investors all at once.
Yeah. Are you seeing a rise in end users, speaking of end users, across the country, or has it really been more focused? I guess in the GTA, we talk a lot about, how the market used to be driven by investors, but now we're seeing this shift to end user
Yeah.
that hasn't really been seen in a while.
I think again, it's different for every market. I think that like the Vancouvers and the Calgarys and like just kind of out west, even Winnipeg and stuff, because they have the wood frame product, it is going to end users. There's just not a lot of the concrete, like a lot of the concrete high rises aren't happening. So that's why. So their sales are happening because they are going for end users, but it's also a product of not having concrete out there.
Right.
I mean, ours is certainly shifting, but other markets like Halifax just finished a pretty not super luxury. I don't like using that term, but a luxury building on its waterfront rental, and like it's been super successful because like it just. That product wasn't available, so it's end users that are willing to, they're willing to pay and spend like upwards of $5,000 a month to downsize and live there. But there was no other product available, right? So sometimes it's the market's probably waiting for what they want to know is right, and like back to the news stories, like it's just like shoebox condos and and it's not even true. Like if I look at our data, like for the GTHA anyways, like there's more 2-bedrooms available right now. So like
that's interesting.
they're not shoeboxes. Like they can't be shoeboxes. Like sure, they're not a 6,000 square foot like home in King City, but like they're still that you can only have so much space, right? Like they're going to be 700 feet.
That actually does make a lot of sense. Like I would say 2 bedrooms probably, there are probably some that are in those 600 range. But I mean, it does make a lot of sense because the most affordable product was that studio 1 bedroom kind of thing. And then you start to hit past this like $700,000 mark. And that's where like there was a bit of this threshold. Yeah. And you start to get issues. So I'm not surprised to hear. Well, I'm surprised, but I'm like, I agree. Right? That's probably the case. Yeah.
And
like more 2 bedrooms.
And I think back to even like when you're saying what's common for every market, there's a price point in each one. And it's just finding out what that is, like so where the volume will happen and where's the cap. And I think the rental market, like as an industry, we kind of focus too much on per square foot values when you really should just be focusing on the monthly rent.
Yeah, like the chunk.
Right.
Because that's all your tenant is going to look at, right?
Yep.
So sometimes you end up being so focused on trying to get like some big PSF number, once you stabilize, a lot of times the turn ends up being those little units because like they don't want them, or price points or like other supply. Like that's what is happening here is like all the condos are coming, so they're saying, oh, I'm going to leave this building, like go across to a brand new unit for less money. Like it doesn't have all the benefits of purpose-built rental, and like people will feel that too. But I think you just have to be like, okay, 2 bedrooms can't be more than $3,000 a month, and like just figuring out what it is and what that range is. So like that, you're just actually meeting end users at where they are.
Would you say that's the same with like the purchasing, like the for sale condos? Is that there's price caps? It's not as much about the PSF.
Oh, for sure. Like for end users, definitely. I mean, I think like luxury, that's aside. But even even for people that might have been mortgage, like an empty nester, right? You're mortgage free for like take my parents. They've been mortgage free for I don't even know how long. If they're looking to get a condo, like their mind is that the maintenance fee is like a mortgage again, because the maintenance fee cost is probably what their mortgage was.
Right.
So like they built their life around trying as hard as possible to be mortgage free. And the idea of buying something is like it's a mortgage again. So I think it's breaking down, like if you took your equity and put it here, and like I know like it's breaking it down to like
it's a bit of an education, I think, because when you think about maintenance fees, like I would say the same thing. My parents probably would say the same thing, but I feel like what needs to be explained is that for maintenance fees, like they're no longer taking care of their yard. They're no longer worrying about their driveway. They're no longer dealing with the big garden that they had, or dealing with like some of the window issues or anything like that.
Having to change those things, right?
Like
those things that you save for.
Yeah. But that's like property tax, like just showing, it's like almost even educating them on the fact that like let's take a year or the last 2 years of you living in your house
Yeah.
and break it down on a monthly basis, you probably maybe even spent more a
Exactly.
month
100%.
maintaining your big single family home
Yes.
than what you'd be doing for a condo where basically everything is taken care of
Yeah,
for
it's
you.
just lock and leave.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
it's a mentality, like you said, like they think of it, but they don't take into account like those extra costs, like insurance. You're
Yeah.
paying a fraction of insurance, your electricity, hydro.
But even your property tax
Yeah,
is fraction
property
of your
tax,
tax. Yeah. all of those things. It's like breaking that down.
Yeah.
And I think the same thing happens for the rental market. Like there's like a learning curve, and sometimes it's just that educating to get people to sort of see like, oh, okay, I could do this.
Yeah, definitely. Kind of just with all those ideas and like all these different concepts that you've seen, like I guess kind of across Canada, is there anything that stands out to you from either a development perspective, a marketing perspective, a branding perspective, construction, that a certain group is doing or that you're seeing? You don't have to name the group, obviously, but just like that you're like, that's really creative. That's very innovative, like something that stands out to you. 'Cause you see a lot, I would imagine.
Oh yeah,
so.
for sure. I mean, I think like one of the coolest things that I've seen recently that was like a mock-up,
Okay.
or I heard of a company that did a mock-up, and so they had a full mock-up of a unit, and then they were able to bring different groups through to see the unit and just decide if they were okay with the living room going smaller because it was everything was movable. So it was really kind of interesting in that way where they could just get the perspective of like tenants and purchasers and things like that to see like what it's like for them and would they buy it or would they rent it
That is
if it
really
was
cool.
like if they made any adjustments to those units.
Yeah, that's
So.
good. And do you know the outcome of that? Like, was it a valuable tool for
Yeah.
them?
Oh,
or-
yeah. I'm sure, and I'm sure that like just more and more has come out of it because
Right.
it was just for different groups and what they were willing to do and willing to get. And I think, I mean, if you think about it, the 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom is always
Yeah.
the big argument, and rental it's pretty hard because you're basically only going for a certain demographic because
Right.
you're not necessarily going to be getting 2 roommates that may or may not know each other sharing 1 bathroom because that's
Yeah.
pretty tough, right?
Yeah.
But in a for sale, like you can have couples,
Yeah.
that would definitely, again, wanting to get in the market like that. But I think it's, imagine if you could have mock-ups so that people could go through
Yeah.
the units. I think like we've always said, like, people have a hard time buying off of plans.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Right?
People are so visual.
And we're so used to plans that we are like, we can immediately be like, oh, the door should swing the other way, or like other things that we can
Yeah.
catch.
Yeah.
But we don't actually, I don't think we see it as like, somebody that would walk through a unit and be like, whoa, that's a really weird entrance
Or
way.
like, how am I going to get my couch through this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like,
Yeah.
oh, I definitely don't want this or that. Or,
Yeah.
like imagine if you could, like, and that's why model suites always do so
Yeah,
well,
that's so
right?
true.
Or why that's the unit that sells the most,
Yeah.
right? And it's always because somebody's walked through it and they've seen it and they can,
Fall in love with it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And like, we do a good job as an industry finishing those units,
Yeah,
and like even still,
absolutely.
like, and I guess going around to different markets, like, touring. I still do a lot of my own primary research because I'm kind of nerdy that way, and I like to do it. But like going through buildings, like there are still a lot of wow factors. I think that
100%,
different markets and different places, like they've been interesting and innovative when it comes to amenities or when it comes to like storage solutions. That's kind of the big thing for, I think, especially in markets where units are getting smaller. It's
Yeah.
like so like Calgary, where they have the kitchen islands where there's also an integrated table that can either come in and out, or so it's like they give you sort of the island dining
Yeah.
for you, so that you're young and you're like, whoa, I don't need to buy a table.
Yeah.
And then they're like, also, it's a small unit, and how often am I going to have a formal dining experience,
Totally,
right? And then here's my big amenity space that I will have the dining there. Like,
Yeah.
but it's also because you provided the dining room table. It's not something that will take up room in
Yeah.
their spot,
Nothing
like
else.
space.
It's like
Yeah.
a value add. They don't have to go and buy
Yeah.
it.
What about lobbies? Like, I find that there's one building that we've worked on, and every time I walk in, I'm like, I love this building because I love the lobbies. Like, and I
Yeah.
do think people are like, they have that wow factor when you walk in, and then you can go up to the suite, and you still have that kind of wow factor,
Right.
feeling it. So
It is your front door.
yeah, it's your front
Yeah.
door. And like in this particular building, I've heard that a ton of people are actually like have it as their living space. Like they're hanging out there, they're reading books,
Oh,
they're
yeah.
they're meeting
that's
there for
so cool.
coffee.
It
So
says a lot for the lobby, right? Like,
Yeah.
I want to be in that
yeah,
space. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so I think that first experience is
Mhm.
I think that would be important.
Well, I think equally, like out of ones that have been like successful as well, is that if you didn't have the space, let's say, to do like a full model suite or things like that in your sales center, if you did a mock-up of like a smaller version of a mock-up of the lobby, but then you have the furniture that will be in the eventual
Yeah.
lobby in it. Like there's a
Yeah.
lot of projects that have done that. Like people love it.
Yeah.
Because you're giving them a taste of what they will actually have. It's not rendering, like it's not, but renderings are getting amazing now,
yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
and that's like in the fly-throughs and the walkthroughs and all of that stuff is really, really great. So I think that we're definitely moving towards the digital era, but just certain demographics will always be tactile. Like they'll always want to see it. They'll always want to feel
Yeah.
it. Like I don't think my parents would ever just look at a plan and be like, okay, let's buy that. Like
Yeah.
they just couldn't.
Yeah.
It's just not in
Yeah.
there. Like I don't think they even could do online grocery shopping. Like,
Well, they should because it's amazing.
I
Yeah.
know. To talk to them about how convenient it is.
like, my life before click and collect, my life after
Yeah.
click and collect. Like I think there's
100%. Yeah.
an amount
like
of time that
hours.
has been added
Yeah,
to my
that's right.
life, right?
That's right.
So
You
I
get
think-
hours of your day back.
It is hours
Yes.
of your weekends, I
Yes.
think, back. Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Just watching the truck come up. You're like,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
We could just do like a promo for
Yeah,
like,
I know.
online
That's
shopping. Yeah.
Real estate. Let's
Yeah.
talk
No.
grocery delivery.
So maybe that's a perfect segue into some like rapid fire questions for you. We have 3.
Okay.
All right. So the first one is, what is your most favorite way to spend a Saturday?
Oh,
I think the rapid fire part of this is in like one sentence or less.
oh, yeah. I think going on city adventures.
Oh,
Finding
that's a
new
good
stuff.
one.
Yeah.
Well, now we should elaborate. Like, what is a city adventure?
Well, I've always liked just going to new things and stuff that I've heard of and areas and stuff. But now with my son, we have Mummy and Charlie adventures, and I
Aw,
go,
that's nice.
and we don't really have too much planned, but so that because it's an adventure, so if it's like he's like, oh, what's down that street? I'm like, oh, and then we can go. But then there's certain things that are planned. So it's like I took him to the very first post office in Toronto. I took him to the new park in the Portlands. But we just do walks all around, and then I forget about stuff, and I'm like, oh yeah, let's go see the vault at the bottom of One King West. And it's like he's like, oh my God, there's a vault. Like there's just stuff that
Yeah.
you kind of forget that
That's
is
pretty
out there.
cool.
So we're kind of like just discovering different, and I'm rediscovering parts of the city because it's
Yeah.
changed so much.
That's
so.
probably something he will like never forget. That's very cool.
That's
Yeah, so we kind
Yeah.
of go and do those for the day, so it's
That's
fun.
so fun.
Yeah.
Number 2 is, what podcast are you currently listening to?
Oh, I'm a big NPR person, so I listen to Planet Money all the time. I really like it. Nerdy, I know. Well, learn about the economy. Yay!
I mean, I feel like it benefits you.
Yeah, I was gonna say, earn that certification. Yeah.
I like it.
And last one, where are you planning your next vacation?
Oh, I want to go to Tokyo.
Oh, that's a
that
big
would be
one.
I know, it's a big one.
Yeah.
That's like the family trip. And then my girlfriend and I were talking about it last night. We're planning a little, I don't know, we don't know where.
Yeah.
Maybe a Europe trip.
Aw,
Oh,
nice.
yeah.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
would be
yeah.
good.
Lots of trip planning. I'm also doing a basement renovation, so it might stay in the planning stage for some time. Planning for when? I don't know. At some point.
As long as you're planning, though, I think that's
Yeah.
all
I
that
am planning.
matters. Yeah.
Always planning.
Amazing. Well, I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to share with us, anything you want us to know about Zonda, or how people can maybe reach you.
Well, I mean, you can always reach me. I'm just jyoung at zondahome.com, but I'm always happy to talk with people. I do all the time. I think we have to I feel like we just need to be positive, and we just have to remember
100%.
that, we have been through this before.
Right.
It's just too many people haven't ever been through it at all. And
So
so,
true.
you're leaning on people that really didn't go through it or caught the tail end or
Yeah.
got a slowdown that was like, we only did a few, a handful, only did 50 deals this weekend. it's still not the
Yeah.
same,
Yeah.
right? And so I think we just have to, it is a reset, and we'll come out of it. And, everything's kind of moving in the right direction, so we
Right.
will be out of it. And we're at the better end of coming out. We're not at the beginning anymore.
Yeah.
It's probably the best way to.
Well, I think we should stop it there because
Yeah.
that's a great
Yeah.
place. Don't say another word. Yeah.
Great way to end off the episode. Perfect.
Well, Jasmine, thank you so much for joining us today. You're like the perfect first guest for us. So thank you so much.
Oh,
We really
thanks for
appreciate it.
having
Kaylee,
me.
Kendall, I don't know if you guys
It
have
was
anything
great.
else to
I've
add.
learned so much. I loved it. It was awesome.
Always love listening to you, Jasmine. So
Oh,
thank you.
Thank you for having me.